Hey guys, I'm coming to you outside, and I just wanted to put a quick video together to kind of talk a little bit about the quarterly review I was talking about earlier in the week. And this is such a critical time in the year because we're going into the second quarter, which is going to ultimately finish out the first half of 2019. And I just want to encourage you to be the best steward that you possibly can of your time, of your talents, of your gifts, of your rest, of your family, of your ministries, of your professional careers. God has called us to so much more than just the mundane, everyday, daily routine of life. God has called us to take what He's given us and deposit it on the inside of us and multiply it and do a lot more with it than our jobs or society would make us believe that we're supposed to do with it. So as you can see, I do have a special guest because in stewarding my time, sometimes I do just have to make the most of the little tiny pockets of time that I have. And a lot of times those tiny pockets are when she's awake and not crying. So here we are on our walk down the hill and loving this springtime weather that's hopefully here to stay. But anyways, let's jump right in. So a quarterly review, as I've written in my blog post, is basically three things. It's thinking about what's happened so far, right? And so the way that I do it is not complex at all. I don't have any special worksheets to offer you. There are some amazing other gurus out there that do, but quite frankly, my method is pretty simple. It's 3 steps. It's redefine, reinforce, and refine. And redefining means, like, what were my goals in the first place, right? Like, what did I even say I wanted to accomplish? And in that step, it's really an opportunity to think about, did I even write down my goals? Did I even, think about where I wanted to head in the first quarter? And it really gets you to thinking about, were your goals specific enough? Were they was there an action plan there that you even wrote down to try and accomplish those things? So redefining is really just kind of looking back at what were my main goals to begin with. And it's also the opportunity to write out more goals if you would like to, or if you see the need to. The second part is reinforcing. So a lot of times this is basically, what did I do well? What went right? What are the opportunities that I get to pat myself on the back for? And what are the things that I did well that really pushed me forward in this goal? And this is a chance to really think about, okay, what's working? What's working? And then finally, refining is step 3, and that's what's not working or what needs a little bit of adjustment. And so I'm going to just kind of quickly show you a little bit of where I started at the beginning of the year, and then where I am now and where I see myself moving forward. So if you see this, it is all written out. It's basically, it's Brendan Burchard's high performance habits evaluations that he does at the beginning of every week. Every Sunday night, he sits down, him and his wife, I believe, or him by himself, and he rates his these categories. There are 10 categories. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 9 or 10 categories. And he rates them on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being the weakest, 10 being the best. And he rates them based on, obviously, just how he sees himself performing in that category. And so I do not right now have the time to dedicate to doing something like this every single week. But I loved the idea of starting my year off with this as a guidance to kind of help me see where the areas that really are struggling and where I really wanted to improve and what I really wanted to focus my time on, and to see where I'm rocking it out. Like, and it really just kind of paints a picture of you and what's in your heart and what you've been, living up to. And so the categories are health, family, friends, marriage, or I think it might be partnership, mission, slash work, finances, adventure, hobby, spirituality. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's like one more that I just didn't feel like I needed to do, so I didn't do it. So anyways, again, that's from Brendon Burchard's High Performance Habits book. I talked a lot about it at the last part of 2018, so check out that book if you're looking for a really good self-improvement tool. Anyway, one of my categories that I really wanted to focus on this first quarter, the friends category. And I like to think of this category as also like community. So I wrote, I'm in a season of building a stronger tribe, but I think the friends I have can be cherished more, encouraged more, prayed for more, visited and communicated with more. This means more scheduled chats or impromptu chats and visits for that matter. I should check in more and invite them over more. So that's my honest to God truth right there, and how I was feeling at the beginning of the year. And when we're thinking about community and friends, I rated myself a 6. And so I really wanted to be more intentional with how I supported my friends, but also how I built the relationship with them and really formed a core community that I could be full with, and that I could pour into, but also friends who could pour into me. And so part of my action plan was to be more intentional in reaching out to friends and or people who were not yet quite friends, but people who I saw potential in joining my community. And so what that looked like was texting, current friends more, strengthening the relationships, and making phone calls to those friends who I already have, spending more time with them, seeking out ways that I could pray for them even more, and then thinking about the people who I could build or extend my community with. I had an opportunity to plan several girls, weekends or events with some of my, now really good girlfriends. And so what that looked like was making sure that I was staying true to the original plan, which was I want to be intentional in building this out. And every season isn't for that, right? I've been in Austin, away from my family, away from my, OG friends for several years now, 4 or 5 years. And ever since we moved here, it's been on my heart, you can ask my husband and my oldest daughter, that I really wanted a good sense of community. And, but it isn't always the season for it. And so at the beginning of the year, I felt like, wow, this is going to be my breakthrough in this area. Now is the time to really begin working towards it. And so that's exactly what I've done. Now, if I'm thinking about if I'm thinking about what I would rate myself now at the quarter, I would definitely say I've moved up a notch. I feel like it's a 7. I would definitely reinforce what I've been doing in terms of reaching out, planning and being intentional with planning events, or times where we get to chat and all that jazz, or catch up, quick phone calls, or thinking about planning in the future, how we can spend time together as girlfriends. But in terms of refining, I would say knowing that I can't compromise my first ministry, which is my family, my home life, I can't compromise that to try and grow this other thing. You know what I mean? Sometimes we take for granted that, our family will be there, they'll be fine. They can do, okay while you're off doing whatever. And while sometimes that might be okay or true, you do need to put it in perspective. Your first ministry is your home life, your family, your children, your partner, your first responsibilities. Come here, babe. Come here. Come here. Come here. Yeah. want more Bamba? And if you haven't tried Bamba and your baby does not yet have a peanut allergy, these are from Israel. They're actually sold at Trader Joe's for like $1 a bag, and they actually help kids to not develop peanut allergies. Cutest little snack, and they're really light for adults too. They're like little puffs. They're so good, actually. They're not really so good, but they're good. She loves them. Anyway, so yeah. So I redefined it, and I remembered that, okay, friendship, community was a category that I wanted to grow in. It's a category where I define my goals as building a stronger tribe and cherishing my current tribe more, praying and communicating and reaching out more. Those are my goals, so I redefined them. I reinforced that behavior. I reinforced the planning, date days and girl time, and girls' weekends, and, group chats that keep us all in the loop of what's going on. But my refining is making sure that I don't compromise my family time, my first ministry for, girlfriends or my tribe, and trying to grow that. So yeah, so that's an example for you. And whether you want to break it down by category or not, or if you just want to look at it as like the specific goals, let's say you had 5 specific goals for the year, you can totally look at it like that instead of, these big categories. I'll tell you another one. I really wanted to grow in financial literacy and financial health with my family. And so I wanted my husband and I to really get on the same page in terms of how we run our finances and how we budget. And so we began instituting, better systems in our household to accomplish that goal. We put some practices in place on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And I will tell you that because we made that goal and we made an action plan and we're now reviewing it. I remember at the beginning of the year, we said we're not going to have these luxuries. We're going to see how we do for the first quarter. And now that we've been able to track some things and look at some things and be able to have, honest conversations, now we can make, decisions moving forward, whether or not we should or shouldn't, have certain luxuries or make certain decisions with our money. But we couldn't do that not unless we actually made a plan and we stuck to it and we followed through to review how that's going. Yeah, so that's the point of a quarterly review. It's thinking about, where did I say I wanted to go, and what plan did I map out in order to get there, and then thinking about it on the way there, and even once I've made it there and beyond, what worked in terms of getting me there and what didn't, what needs to be reinforced, as in what were my wins and what were my losses. Like, what do I need to lose and get rid of, right? Like, what is the dead weight, or what needs to be fixed or changed or rearranged. And just thinking about that in terms of your personal life, your personal goals, your professional goals and whatnot. It's important if you want to see that continual growth and success and improvement in your life. So happy quarterly reviewing, and let me know if this helped you, and if you need more guidance in this area or another, definitely hit me up and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, happy April, happy spring, happy resurrection season. Love you guys. Bye.